yes, recharge with the knowledge that you have gained. So once again, welcome to Leverage. And this is an initiative by Praise Ogunleke as an effort to help undergraduate students get a well-rounded experience outside the classroom walls and of course, prepare them for the future of work. I'm Esther Ade and I'm your host for this session. You know, it's such a pleasure to be among great minds and go-getters. So briefly before we enter into today's class, you know, I asked earlier on that we describe how the sessions have been in one word. I still want to get more responses. I'm sure that we must have learned a lot in the past 4 days. So please share with us, describe the sessions in one word. Share with us how the sessions have been on your end, right? Or one key takeaway, one thing that you were able to take away from the session while we get ourselves ready for tonight's meal. Okay. So while I wait for the responses, right, I would like to invite our convener for a very brief address. Oh, awesome. Thank you so much, Mercy. Impactful, transforming, many things to take away, please. Yes, many things to take away. See, if today is your first time in this series, please check the links. Trust me, it's mind-blowing. So please let us welcome our convener with a rush of emojis for his address. Please welcome the convener.
Yeah, hi everyone. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes, we can. I can.
Yeah, all right. So thank you very much, Esther. So hi everyone, thank you very much for joining in today. I want to appreciate you for your patience and your understanding the past 4 days. Yeah, today's the fourth day, and you know, I know it's been a lot back to back having this session here and there. Like, thank you so much, right? And I want to really apologize for having to postpone. Like, normally it's not something I love to do, right? But we just wanted to we wanted you to have the best experience, and that was why we just had to postpone. So we didn't just want to do something because we just had to fulfill all righteousness. We wanted to do something that's able to come back to at every point, right? So like she already stated, leverage is just an effort to help undergraduates across Nigeria to have a well-rounded experience outside the school walls and prepare them for the future of work, right? But before we proceed, I want to really appreciate some guys. I mean, I've not been doing this alone, so that it's not be like, oh, Praise has been doing this and that. I mean, I've not been doing this alone. Trust me. In fact, I would have collapsed maybe if I've been doing this myself, right? So first, I want to appreciate Shemiye Owolabi for the design. Like Shemiye made our flyer. He has a brand, O2 Concepts. O2 Concepts. You can check it out on Instagram. Shemiye, thank you so much. Thank you so much for your help. Thank you very much for believing this vision. I also want to appreciate Femi Amusa, who was also a co-facilitator at the physical events that we had here in Lautech. Thank you very much, Femi. You've been a wonderful person. So I want to appreciate Mercy Ali, who has also been very instrumental to this journey. Thank you very much, Mercy. I want to appreciate Olamide Adeoye for his help. Thank you so much. I want to appreciate my friend and brother, Ola Dawson, who was also a co-facilitator some days back. Thank you, Dawson. I mean, Dawson has really been very helpful. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I want to appreciate Covenant or Dedele. I want to appreciate Dumomi. Dumomi was also a facilitator yesterday. Thank you, Dumomi, for being very amazing. I want to appreciate Cephas Abegode. I want to appreciate my friend Femi Olani. I want to appreciate Mr. Tommy, who is also going to be a facilitator this evening. Thank you very much, sir, for the opportunity to learn from you. So, and I want to appreciate everybody that is also here. I mean, I know how that we have a lot to do, but we have still decided to be here regardless. Thank you so much, everybody. I just wanted to state that I've not been doing this all by myself. I've been doing this with some people, right? People I call co-visionaries. So thank you very much, everybody. I'm really, really grateful. And once again, I really apologize for the postponement and the inconveniences that we might have caused you. Really, really apologize. So that would be it for my end. Thank you very much, everybody. And I hope that we can put these things into good use after the class. Thank you very much. And to Esther, yes, I don't know if I mentioned Esther. Thank you very much, Esther. She's also been very, very helpful. I mean, throughout this sojourn, this journey. I want to also appreciate the facilitators, the moderators in the past few days. Starting from Titilope Ibrahim. Titilope Ibrahim is the president, Last Debate Society. You can check her out on Instagram. She's doing amazingly well. Thank you very much, Titi. Really, really appreciate it. I want to appreciate Simi. Simi has been a very wonderful person as well. Thank you very much, Simi. Thank you so much. I also appreciate Precious, who also anchored yesterday. Thank you, Precious. And today, Esther, thank you very much. I just wanted to say a very big thank you to everybody that has contributed to this one way or the other. Even if I've forgotten your name, everybody that helped with publicity. Thank you very much, guys. I'm so grateful. So that'll be it from my end. I hope to learn from you as well. Wow, Titi is here. Wow, fantastic. Thank you so much. Titi is I want to be like her when I grow up. I want to appreciate wonderful people here. I can see Peter Abibunde. Thank you so much. Mofokwe, my boss, my leader. Thank you. Thank you very much. Kenny Victor, Adekunle Ayomide, who else? Thank you so much, everybody. Honestly, Naya Williams, thank you so much. So, Naya is the president of Jowo in UI. Thank you so much. Such a privilege, such a privilege. So that'll be from my end. Thank you very much, everybody. Really, really grateful. Thank you. You can proceed now.
All right. Thank you so much, Praise. Thanks for having every young individual in your heart. We really appreciate you. All right. So who is excited for today's session? Please let me know how excited you are in the chat box. Drop in your favorite emojis. I would love to know how excited you are. Before I proceed to introduce our speaker for tonight, before I proceed to introduce the one that will be facilitating tonight's session, I want to gauge the energy in this room. I want to see how many persons are actually excited to learn how to create a killer pitch deck. Oh, awesome. I can see responses from Good Luck, from Olawale. Oh, yes, of course. Thank you so much for responding. Yes, thanks, Mohiz. Thanks, Oluwayo. Awesome, awesome. Yes. So please relax and pay attention to our facilitator's profile. I'm very excited to read this out because the first time I heard Mr. Tommy speak, my God, I was blown from his presentation to the way he articulated his thoughts. See, you are in for a wonderful ride tonight, and I'm also very much excited about learning. So yes, Mr. Michael is a creative adventurer on a constant exploration of visual creativity and its transformative effects on people, places, and culture. He is a visual communicator and a presentation deck specialist who works at the nexus of research, creativity, and technology. Is the co-founder of Asterism Communications, a brands and communications company that uses storytelling and communications to amplify brands. He has over 6 years of experience crafting effective brands and designing meaningful digital and print solutions. He has proficiencies in design consultancy, branding and strategy, creative arts direction, UI UX design, presentation design, graphic design, no-code web design. Who is feeling the fire? Digital illustrations, book print design, and city branding. He has been featured on CNN Africa as one of the outstanding artists and illustrators from Africa. He has designed 2 album covers for one of Africa's finest gospel artists, and the albums have been streamed over 10 million times across multiple platforms. And so if you are excited and ready to learn how to create the killer pitch deck that would take your personal and professional pitching game to the next level, please welcome on board Mr. Michael Tommy.
Hi. I just saw someone's message on the chat. That's very interesting. Don't mind the lengthy bio. I'm quite simple. Can you all hear me? I want to believe that you all can hear me. But
Yes,
just
I
give me.
can.
Oh, awesome, awesome, awesome. So it's so great to be here. Um, I'm quite amazed by what is happening here. You know, I'm inspired by the energy of young people. I believe strongly in the creative tendencies that we all hold, and I trust that this evening, in as much time as I have to spend here, I'll be able to add my portion to whatever you guys are doing. I'm just going to make a request to do something. This is quite unusual. I'm not sure this is something I've done before, but I feel a strange urge to pray before I start this. I say this with respect to everyone on the call. I know that we may not have the same belief systems and all, but if you would bear with me for some weird reason, I just feel like praying. I hope that is fine. All right. So please allow me. I'm just going to do that with all due respect to everyone on the call. I'm just going to do that and then we'll begin. And Father, we thank you. We pray that this goes well. There is no interruption. There is no break in whatever we're doing. Everything just works perfectly fine. I, I know. I pray that your administrative tendencies, your creative tendencies, which is also fashioned in each and every one of us, will be in full display today, and everything will be to perfection. Thank you, Father, in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, so I'm so glad to be here. I think I can jump in. Yeah, are we all ready for this? Let me know. How do I get feedback from you guys? I'm just going to be checking the chat section to be sure that we're together. Awesome. So I'm going to share my screen from here and trust that you guys will be able to see and everything will go very, very, very well. All right. So you can let me know as soon as you can see my screen. I believe my screen is in view.
Yes, sir.
Awesome. So I'm just going to go straight. So um it's so funny that I'm here to talk about pitch deck, and earlier today I had a pitch actually. I am starting up an initiative in Ubomosho somewhat. I was talking about it with Praise earlier, and I had a pitch earlier today, and it was a learning experience for me. So I just realized that we are on a never-ending adventure of learning, and this is just a step in that direction. Pardon that my camera is turned off. I think I want my system to bear as little weight as possible so that so that whatever we are doing is not affected by anything. All right. So I believe my screen is still in view. You can see my title page here. Yes. Yes. Can you see my title page, everybody? Yeah, yeah, yeah. Somebody can maybe we can nominate someone to just tell me a yes because moving between my slide
Yes, sir, we can.
okay. Awesome. Awesome. So today I'm just going to talk to you about, well, we said creating a killer pitch deck, but I decided to change the title to creating winning pitch decks. All right. I probably had so much on my mind. So when I saw the flyer, I probably would have mentioned to Praise that, you know what, why not reward this thing for my sake? But we're here, so we're just going to go through it. Now, in case you're wondering what qualifies me to be presenting to you guys, do I still have up to 2 hours? Pardon me, please. Do I still have that much time, or how much time do I have now? Help me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, awesome, awesome. So I may not use up to 2 hours because of the rescheduling and everything, but I'll try to use as much as I can and give you guys as much as I can. So in case you're wondering what qualifies me to be standing here or to be sitting here and having this call with you, beyond the bio, I'm just privileged to have done so many things. actually. It's interesting. I do sometimes when I look at it, I try to understand it, but I think that that's how God has made me. He has made me to explore creativity a lot. It's not even what I studied, but I found out that that's how I've been wired. Beyond all the bio, beyond everything you've read, beyond all my experiences coming together, to form the most part of my visual creative journey. I've also had the privilege of creating pitch decks for brands, successful brands, right? There is a current fintech, a startup in Nigeria. Okay, they were initially in Nigeria, but now they're in Canada. I've had the privilege of creating several pitch decks for them, not just pitch decks, because I believe that a lot of these things that have to do with visual design, they are somewhat connected. If you can create a pitch, okay, how do I do this? If you've been involved in creating, let's say, something that looks like UI or even a document, sometimes you can transfer knowledge. Is one of the things we're going to learn today. You can transfer knowledge even into creating a pitch deck. So I've had the privilege of doing such for several brands for different purposes, right? Some for getting investors. I remember the brand I was working with, they were pitching for $200,000, right? From investors for the startup they were working on, and I had the privilege of creating a pitch deck for them. Pitch deck for partnerships, I created that. Another brand, pitch deck, yeah, same for partnerships and investors. I had the privilege of creating. So I have a bit of an experience in creating pitch deck for working brands, all right, successful brands. So, but what I'm going to do today is I'm going to take all of these experiences I've had and simplify them. That's what usually I try to be as simple as possible. I try to avoid complicated things. I usually just believe that you should find a way to break things down, to the point that anybody can understand you. It's usually something I like to do, and I still learned it today on my pitch, which I had a few minutes before joining this call on a program I'm on, an accelerator program I'm on, and I still learned the same lesson that try as much as you can to always make things as simple as possible for whosoever you're speaking with, your audience, to understand. So again, creating winning pitch decks, creating a winning pitch deck. Yeah, let's just move on. So first off, I just want to do this for the sake of bringing clarity to us. One, for formality. Second, for the sake of clarity. A pitch deck, which is also known as a slide deck or a startup deck, is usually, there are a few things I'm highlighting on this slide because one of the things you try to achieve when you're creating the deck is that you should be able to communicate as much as possible in as little time as possible. I find out that oftentimes do I need to jump into this now? Yeah, okay. So let me not jump into it. Let me just clear out this definition. So a pitch deck is usually a 10 to 20 slide presentation deck. That gives you a range. It doesn't necessarily mean that it must be 10 to 20, but oftentimes when you're creating a deck, because of what you're trying to achieve with the deck, sometimes 7 slides, 6 slides, 5 may be too little because it feels like you're just whetting the appetite of whosoever is going through your deck or listening to your presentation. So to suddenly end at 7 slides makes it look like you didn't really have so much to say or you didn't have stuff to say. So you just ended at 10 or 20. And sometimes, I mean, at 7 rather. And sometimes I feel like the reason why some of us may fall into that is because we tend to pack information into things. So we have one slide and we pack information that is meant to be on 4 slides into one, right? That in itself can affect the way things are seen or the way our presentation or pitch deck is actually seen. All right. So but oftentimes if a deck is well constructed, if it's well put together, you tend to fall in between 10 and 20. I try to target, depending on the amount of time I have, if I have to present my deck, if I'm not just sending it for somebody to go through, I'm going to talk about that at some point. I tend to target 10 to 12 slides so that I can finish in a in an amount of time so that I don't bore people at some point, because you have to cater to the emotions of people when creating these things. All right. So, but when your deck is becoming more than 20, it becomes too much. You lose, if no matter how interesting it is, you tend to lose the interest of those that you're presenting to. So usually you have 10 to 20 slides presentation, 20 slides, and you design your pitch deck to give a brief summary, right? Despite it being brief, it has to be informative enough. Then if whosoever needs more from you, they can request. But then you give a brief but informative summary or overview of your business, your company, or your startup vision. I understand that some of us here, we have great visions, of what we're doing already or what we intend to do. At some point, you would have to communicate these things to people. Sometimes you may not communicate with investors. Sometimes you just want people to know what you're doing. You want to create a belief system in people. Besides today, the last time I presented, which was at ODS, I believe, because I've been on a break from work because of we had a newborn, so I've not been working a lot, but I had to make this. This is important. I had to be here. So the last time I presented, what I intended to achieve was create a belief system in people, and that affected how I presented. So whatever it is you're doing, there will always be a reason for you to communicate with people. And oftentimes a pitch deck is a very great way for you to do that. All right. Okay, so very quickly, simple visual on the difference between or different types of presentation decks, because I have a summary on top here. You have the presentation deck, and it's broken down into different branches. You have pitch deck. You have you can make a presentation deck for different reasons. For some, it can be for a sermon in church. For some, it could be presentation in school. I had the privilege of, I attended UI, and the way that University of Ibadan is, if you're in the Faculty of Technology, like I was in, you most likely would have to present in your department up to 3 times or 4 times before you leave the university. So you go on IT in 200 level, when you return, you present. You go on IT in 300, when you return, you present. You go on IT in 400 level, when you return, you present. You go on, you have your project 500, that's if you don't even do any other type of presentation, you present. All right. So, I had the privilege of going through that and honing my skills to a great degree. So you may have different reasons to present, be it in church, be it in whatever organization you're running, be it in school, to send over to someone, to pass on an idea to someone in an easy way. So there are different forms of, some of them can be reports. All right, there are different forms of presentation decks, but one of the things we're going to try and focus on to a great degree today is pitch deck. All right, I'm going to teach you principles that affect every type of presentation, so that whatever type of presentation you want to do, you can just reap the full benefit of it. And then we're just going to try and focus a bit on pitch decks, so that for those who want to focus on that, you can also receive the best from that. So usually, what I want to do today is to, like I've already said several times, show you the how of creating exceptional decks. It's broke. Like, I like to be simple. So if you're looking for something complex, you'll be disappointed, actually, very disappointed. So I like to be simple, and I'm just going to jump right to it. So one, this is very key. We're going to go into tools at the end of the day, but I don't want to start with tools, because this is a mistake I see people make a lot. If I were to ask who is a designer, oftentimes people would just imagine that guy that uses Photoshop, that guy that uses, Photoshop, has a laptop, is always in front of his laptop, designing a flyer and stuff. That may be, I don't see that as being very correct, right? For me, it's usually not first about the tools, right? It's about the configuration of the person involved, right? So if, for example, like today, I'm to talk to you about presentations, I cannot really come and start telling you, I'll be doing you a great disservice if 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 I should come here today and begin to talk to you about PowerPoint, and Google Slides, and you should be, and this and that. Okay, let's jump into Google Slides. I don't do that. If I do that, I actually don't really care so much about you. I just want you to leave me alone. All right. So it's like me wanting to teach design, and the first thing I do is PowerPoint. No, before I jump into PowerPoint or Illustrator or any of those things, I will most likely take you for weeks, right? I would spend time to ensure that I impart the mindset of a designer. What should a designer look for? How should you think? How should you work? How should you operate? Then, when we've cleared all of that out, we can jump into the idea of what tools to use. Because once you have the mindset, you literally, now let me give you an instance. I don't know how many of us are interested. Allow me minimize this for a bit. I don't know how many of us are interested in things like data visualization, right? Allow me close this other tab so that I can focus a bit. I don't want anything weighing down my system. So if you know of, or you're interested in data visualization, can you just type in the chat section? I just want to, you can just say, oh, I know of data visualization, or oh, I do data visualization, or oh, I'm very interested in data visualization. Just type in, I just want to, get that quick sample of those of us that have a thing or two. If you don't know, you can just say, oh, I don't know, so that you guys are not too quiet. I don't know anything about data visualization. Just let me know. I'm looking at the chat section. Is anyone responding? Is anyone responding? Is anyone responding? Anyone? Help me out. Nobody? Okay. Okay, cool. Someone has responded. Thank you so much. Now, the reason I'm asking this is because, like I said, I've had a bit of experience with these things. Data visualization is actually a field where you, simply put, you visualize data, because we talk about data a lot, but how you present the data usually matters. Because, thank you so much for the responses. I appreciate you guys. How you present that data matters a lot. When you present data wrongly, the impact that data would make on people would be quite minimal. It's not just about, oh, we have this data. How you present it, how you tell a story with it, goes a long way in influencing people on how to act. And now I'm sharing this. I'm sharing this because, for example, I've had the privilege of learning a bit about, and even participating. Actually, I participated in the data visualization competition, an international dish. Where's that from? Are we where's that from? All right. Let's mute that, please, so that I can focus. Thank you. All right. So I've had the privilege of participating in an international data visualization competition, and I realized that, and not just that, right? I'm going to share another instance with you to help solidify the idea of, it's not first about the tool, but it's first about the person. And when you participate in such competitions, you realize that you are allowed to use any medium. You're not just told to design on your laptop or computer. If you prefer to visualize data on a piece of cloth, right? Or you prefer to hand draw what you're doing, it's also very fine, as long as you can make it simple to understand, tell a beautiful story with the visualization. That's good enough. I've heard of, I think, who designed the Olympic logo for what year? I can't exactly remember the year. He did not design it on his laptop. I'm not even sure he's someone that uses laptop as much as that. I think it was a Chinese artist, and he hand drew the logo for the Olympic Games in that year. I can't remember the exact year. So I'm just saying this to emphasize the fact that at the end of the day, as much as using your laptop, Illustrator, Google Slides, PowerPoint makes these things easy, it's not really about those tools first. It's usually about you, the person, and your mindset and your understanding of how things should work. Once you get that right, you have it on lockdown. So the first thing that I usually consider is audience. What's the demographic of your audience? What are you trying to gain from them? Your audience, are they young? Are they old? Are they investors, colleagues, employers, mentees, students, academics? Is it a very academic presentation? Is it a non-academic presentation? When you consider the makeup of your audience, it defines everything, literally everything, right? Apart from any other minimal things that have minimal impact or stuff or influence, your audience, how I would present to you guys, for example, is not how I would present to, I mean, you could be investors in my startups, yeah. I believe that some of you would be investors. But then in the present moment, how I would present to you is not how I would present to maybe in people that are 40 years old or 50 years old, or maybe potential in, no, don't let me say potential investors. Just like I said, you guys can be potential investors in what I do. You can invest your time, you can invest other things, but how I present to you may not necessarily be how I would present to you. Awesome. Okay. So how, all right. Are we good?
Yes, sir.
Awesome. I'm not sure where the noise was coming from, but that's cool. All right. So as I said, where was I? So how I would present to you would most likely be very different from how I present to 10-year-olds or 15-year-olds or 5-year-olds, and things like that. So first off, of all the things you have to determine, define your audience, ensure that I think it's a lesson that was still reinforced for me earlier today while I was making my pitch. Define your audience. Is your audience somebody that does not have 3 minutes to go through your presentation? Is your audience somebody that has only 2 minutes or only 1 minute or even 10 seconds, right? Because when you don't do this right, you realize that your presentation or your pitch deck may not make as you suddenly send a pitch deck somewhere and you don't get the response and you're wondering what's going on. And it's most likely just because you missed who the audience was. You didn't put them into consideration when sending, when designing your pitch deck. The last time, I'm going to share this personal example. Like I said, the last time I presented at ODS, I created a very interesting pitch deck. Sorry, a very interesting deck. And as at the point I presented, it was about 4 p.m. or 5 p.m. I can't really remember what time it was, or 6 p.m. So many people had been drained of energy listening to talks from morning till that time. Was it even 7? But it was quite late. So, but somehow I was fortunate enough to have put in a very interesting slide in my sorry, let me just do this. Let me try and find that slide. I hope that, or that deck. I hope that this will not cause a problem for me. So one of the earliest things I did was that I inserted a very interesting image and story at the beginning of the deck. And to tell you the truth, days after my presentation, somebody reached out and told me that that slide where you had the bicycle and the car, the moment I saw it, I received a jolt of energy, and all of a sudden I was able to listen till the end. And that was because to a great degree, I was fortunate enough to be able to predict my audience and realize that this single slide can make a whole lot of difference, but that will not always work. There are places where I cannot use that. So your audience can be children, adults, investors, potential investors, or whosoever, employees, employers, and all of that. So you've carefully defined your audience, you create an outline. All right. How do I mean by creating an outline? I receive ideas on the go. I write on the go. All right. I could only manage to put this presentation together today because I'm quite engaged normally, right? At least of late. But one of the things I did was that I was constantly making notes, even before today, in my head, in my mind. I'm constantly making notes. It's how I move. And one of the things that will help when you're creating your deck or you're creating your presentation. I hope you're not being bored, but this is actually the hard work of these things, and I have to go through it so that you can get this thing right. So one of the things that I would advise you to do is create an outline. How do you create an outline? I would suggest that you have a document. You don't just wake up and jump into your presentation slide and start working. It doesn't work like that. What you do is that you have a document or you have a notepad on your phone. It could be your phone, it could be your laptop, it could be with a pen, your jotter, a pen and paper, and you're writing down what you want to present on, right? You take your time out and outline all of the things you want to put together, and have it out as an outline, which you would later break down into slides, right? So one of the things that helps you do is that it helps you order your slides and create a flow. I don't know where the noise is coming from, but if it will help or if it's possible, I would really prefer if we have person mute. It's very distracting for me. But so if whosoever that is, if you can have the person on mute, I'll be so glad. Right? Okay, so I said the next thing after defining your audience for me is create an outline. Create an outline, make notes, write down in a document form all of the things you want to present. That would help you knock out excesses. That's one. I like to document my thoughts as if I'm talking. That's how I document mine. So I'm literally seeing myself presenting what I'm doing, speaking, right? And as I'm speaking, I'm writing down the things I'm saying because I don't want to miss them when the time comes. So after creating an outline, oh, sorry, I just realized a mistake here. Bear with me. I don't know who else. All right, are we good?
Yes, sir. So sorry about the distraction. I've been trying to figure out where it's coming from.
So I think that's more just from here. I think praise and quiz in the mess so that maybe WhatsApp mode because just be my PDF viewer, so I'm not really present here. So at any point you can confirm, and I'll be back. All right. All right, am I free to move?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right, cool. I'm going to continue moving. So, like I said, if at any point in time you stop hearing me, I would advise that you send me a message. All right, let me move around for some reason so that this can be easier for me. Give me a second, please. Awesome. So I had to move my position. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes, sir, we can. I
All
can.
right, awesome. So okay, if you can, I believe everybody else should be able to hear me. All right. So okay, I hope we don't have any more distractions so that I really can focus on this. Create an outline, create a document, write down everything you want to present on. You can write it down as your thoughts or the summation of all your research and different things. But just write, have a document, a reference document you would create your presentation from. I believe that that would make things very simple for you. But then, in addition to that, you need to tell a story, right? You can't, people have emotions, no matter how research backed or data backed your presentation is. If you can't tell a story with your presentation, you most likely will bore people out. So tell a story. A story, when you watch a movie, there is a flow. The moment there is no flow in the movie you're watching, you're most likely going to have issues with the movie. All right. So you have to find a way to think of slide 1 through to slide 10 as a story that climaxes at slide 10 or somewhere around slide 9. if 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 you don't do that, your presentation may not be memorable, right? Somebody reads it or goes through it or listens to you present, and there is nothing striking. So at the end of the day, oh wow, we heard you. But then I don't know if it was, I don't want to believe it was just hype, Them, I think it was Esther Additional saying that I was even surprised to know that you knew who I was. I was thinking, okay, but then you said you heard me present, and I thought, oh, that would be interesting. The reason I'm saying that is because it's really important that we tell a story with whatever we are doing, such that at the end of the day, you leave a memorable mark on someone. All right, that story usually has the potential to do that, right? It speaks to the emotions of who you're speaking with or speaking to or sending your pitch deck to. All right. In addition to making an outline and writing this or telling a story, one of the things you have to do is add meat. What do I mean by adding meat to your pitch deck? Back it up with data, back it up with facts. You cannot just come and talk, right? Facts and data and numbers tell people the reality of things, right? So it shows that these things are not just theory, they are real. There's a practical aspect to them. It makes people see the practicality of what it is you're doing. All right. If you have a startup and all you do is tell a story to investors, you would not get any positive response from them. At most, they're just going to call you and advise you and things like that. A lot of times, what an investor wants to hear is, okay, how much do you want? Right? What impact are you making? How can we triple, or like, what are you promising us? Are you telling us that, okay, we're going to be able to impact 10,000 people? Or I have this startup I'm creating, I've actually looked at the landscape, I can see that so and so percent of people have so and so percent, so and so problem. Even if all we can get is only 2% of the market size, I think we're good enough. What's 2%? 2% is so and so amount of or number of people, and then we can get this to subscribe, we can get this to be loyal customers, we can get so and so amount in the next 6 months, in the next 1 month. So this is where a lot of the research comes in. As you're telling your story, one of the things you have to do is don't miss out on the place of numbers, of facts, of your research, of your data, and all of that. These are the things that give birth to things like charts in your presentation. All right. So having done this, you are now coming to a place where you've done your research, you've written down the document, you put things together. The next thing for you to do is create your presentation, right? You need to understand that visuals are important. I don't play with visuals because, for example, I've stepped out of my where I was sitting and I'm outside because I just want to just be relaxed and all that. Now I can sit down and look at my house and say, okay, wow, I'm looking at it. There are no words, but then I can take in the design of the house. Oh, the color of the walls are brown. This other side is cream in color. You have a bulb here. You have plants outside. Oh, my car is here. Oh, my plants are. I can easily do that. I can take all that in without any words, but in 10 seconds, I'm done. But if I were to describe that to you, even with the little I've said, you still cannot picture what exactly the house is like. You don't know whether it's a bungalow, whether it's a duplex, whether the neighbor beside me has a mango tree, whether there's anything hanging around somewhere. So, and this is why pictures, images are very important to me. Charts, for example, can tell you 1,000 stories in 1 second, and somebody would still be trying to explain it. It doesn't really work like that. As much as you can, you need to bring in visuals into what you're doing. It helps. People relate a lot more with images than with just written text when it comes to pitch decks and presentations. It saves time, it communicates things clearly, it communicates things simply, it takes a short amount of time to digest whatever you're presenting. Now, I've put these images on this slide to just show to you that not all images work. All right. You see these 4 images you see here. On a normal day, I would not use anything like this. And I realized that most people tend to use images like this when they're making their presentation. Let me just check to be sure that we're still together on the call. I want to be sure that I'm not disconnected yet. Okay, I'm right here. Everyone is still together. Let me just check the messages we have here to be sure if anything is of it. Okay, awesome. So I'm back to my presentation. All right. So when we look at this, for some of us, we would just go on Google or go on some stock image site and just to us, we think we're actually using inspiring images. Use stickman like what we have down here, left, bottom left, or something like this, top left, and all that. And we think, okay, we've used images. In some cases, it will work. But there are so many cases where a sight of something like this is enough for someone to say, you know what, I'm not interested in this. It's as simple as ABC, right? So visuals are key. The kind of image you select, it's like saying that how you present yourself determines how people relate with you. All right. So it may not always be the case, but oftentimes it is. How you present yourself determines how people relate with you. The same way it is that how you present whatever images you use somehow can is one of the ways. That's how people build credibility sometimes. If you don't use the right type of images, you tend to tell whosoever you are presenting to that you don't care, you don't pay enough attention to the things that you do, you you don't have a culture of excellence somewhat, and that can put someone off. Another thing I need to mention is the fact that the use of images, when you're using images, you also have to consider things like copyright. You can't use stock images that has somebody's logo hanging around it. No, it doesn't work. Neither can you use an image that can constitute copyright issues in the future. As much as you can, avoid images that are not what do they call it? Is it free to use, that have this Creative Commons license? All right, when you're sourcing images to use, try as much as you can to ensure that you're using images that are of high quality, are not blurred out, and they work in the context of what you're talking about. All right, they work in the context, they are not just a random image, they work in the context of what you're talking about. If it's charts, all well and good, but then avoid images like the ones you see on my screen currently. These things, I believe that some of us will keep proceeding into some kind of places, right? So, but as we go on in that direction, we need to let go of things like this. All right. So, having said that, I need to mention that design is important. How do I mean? Now, what do you think would make people pay someone to design a deck for them, right? It's because they know that the design of such a deck is important to whatever they want to achieve with the deck. Pitch decks, to the best of my knowledge, you can find people designing pitch decks from $100 and above. $100 is even on the cheap side, right? A lot of times you find people designing pitch deck for much more than that, depending on who is designing it for you and how much trust you have in their work and what you want to achieve with the pitch deck at the end of the day. Why do I say this? It's because you can't do without design. And this is my call to as many who are on this call to learn, even if it's the principles of visual design, even if it's the principles, basic principles of visual designs. I'm talking of things like layout, typography, colors, hierarchy, and data visualizations. I'm going to explain this. It's very brief. I'm not going to go too much. You don't have to be a graphics designer. No, you don't have to be. You just have to know the basics of design. It would help. It's like knowing how to write. You don't have to be a writer for you to decide that you need to learn how to write, because you would need to communicate. It's as simple as that. Allow me check to be sure we're still together, because I'm not really looking at my browser. All right. My browser is still intact. Awesome. So um like I said, it does not matter what your field of endeavor is, except you decide that whatever design needs you would outsource it. Fine. But if you're not ready for that, I actually want to encourage you to learn the basics. You don't need to learn anything complex. You don't need to master Photoshop. Even with all my years of designing, I still haven't mastered Photoshop. But you don't need to master Photoshop. You don't need to deep dive into Photoshop and Illustrator or anything like that. What you really need is to just learn the principles of design. Learn how to choose a font, right? It's not everything you write with Times New Roman. It's not everything you write with Arial, right? There are free sources. There are sources. I most likely should just type those out in the chat section. Allow me to do that right now. Um, um, just give me a moment. Um, all right, so you have fonts.google.com. There are free sources for high quality fonts and other things like that. So as much as lies in you, I would advise you to learn the basics of visual design, not necessarily a full graphics design course or anything like that, just the basics of visual design. All right, you learn your layout, you learn your typography. Layout should be, how do you present things on a screen? You know, when you're typing in your Microsoft Word, you would find things like left alignment, right alignment, middle alignments. It's part of layout, but it's not all there is to laying things out. I can't really go into full details of this. I feel like this is something that you guys can just go and explore. It shouldn't take you so long. In a week, you can actually learn enough to take you on for a long time, right? So learn how to lay things out on the screen. How do you arrange things? Where do you place the title? Where do you place the text? How do they relate to each other on the screen, the images and things like that? Sometimes you think of layout is like your room where you don't lay things out properly. You would have issues living in the room. Next thing you know, you're trying to walk to the door and you're mistakenly hitting your leg against your table or stuff like that. It's most likely because you've not laid out that room very well. All right. So that's how it works with your presentation as well. Learn the principles of design, layout, learn how to choose the right font, learn how to choose the right colors. If I were to advise you on font, select one font and use it all through your presentation. A clean, clear not something, not necessarily, depending on audience, if you're presenting to children or you were creating a chick lit type of brand or presentation, then you'll be able to use things like scripts and all that. But I would often advise that you select, if you're creating a pitch deck, you select a simple, clear enough font and stick with it all through your presentation. No need to mix up to 3 fonts or anything like that. It doesn't work. All right. So determine the right colors, determine the right hierarchy of things, and stuff, the right type of chat. Now, there is so much more I can say about this, but I need to move on so that I feel like I want us to do a bit of practical. All right. Yeah, I want us to do a bit of practical before I jump off this call. I'm glad that my laptop is behaving because a few hours ago it was actually acting up. So I'm grateful that we're here. Is why I had to pray because I didn't want anything to interrupt what we're doing. All right. But before I jump into other things, one slide which I think is missing is missing from here, but I want to say it with my mouth so that you guys can just take note of that. When you're preparing a presentation, if you're going to present that presentation, like it's not like you're sending it as an email, you're going to be there to speak. Try as much as you can to remember that you are a part of the presentation. In fact, that you are the most important piece in the presentation. So when you make your slides, remember that you'll be there to talk, right? So that means that you don't overload your slides with details and information. Rather, what you do, to the best of my understanding, is put in the key details that would remind you of the things you have to say. If you would be physically presenting, that's what you have to focus on. The right details or the key details that will remind you of what you have to say. Because at the end of the day, you are the most important part of the presentation, not your deck, not your presentation. I'm going to show you an example of that because now, like I said, this is what I prepared for ODS. When you go through this presentation, you realize that, or this deck, you realize that there are slides that without me, you cannot do anything with them. You can't understand them. Branding for cities, designing a visual identity for Ogbomoso. Car A is made in the car is made in country A, the bicycle is made in country B. Which countries are A and B? You can easily understand this slide. All right. People form perceptions about places. You don't understand what I brought out of this slide, right? Until you get to a particular slide. But the point is, you see a slide like this, it's just a quote. I am the one to tell you what the quote is about. I am the one to tell you what this slide is about. That's how you proceed, right? Branding through identity perception. Without me, you can't understand what this slide is about. And that's because I've presented it in such a way that I am the focus of the presentation, because I will be there to present. If I were not there to present, then I would design it in such a way that I can send it to you and you understand everything about it, which takes me back to the idea of understanding your audience. The moment you get your audience, you know how you will construct the presentation according to the audience you have. Is your audience somebody somewhere in the world you have to send an email to? Is your audience somebody you'll be meeting in the next 5 minutes, you'll be speaking with directly and all that? So having included that part, this image gives a clear indication of how people react to your presentation. There would hardly be an indifferent person. Is either the way you follow these steps I've listed, either wows someone or just makes them bored or pissed or tired of whatever you just offered at the end of the day. All right. So before I jump into tools, I want to take a quick sample. All right. Um, Tell me so far what you think you've gained from from or what has stood out the most to you from the presentation we've just had. Let me know, please, in the chat section. Quickly as possible. Then we would go into a bit of a practical session. I'm going to bring in one of my learn design principles. Thank you so much. Learn principles of visual design. Thank you so much. Anyone else? I think I just saw highlight your key points. Thank you so much, Eunice. I'm going to bring in one of the pitch decks I designed for a successful brand, and and thank you so much. I'm seeing the responses. You have to know the audience you're presenting to. Thank you. Don't overload your slide with details and information. Thank you. The importance of good imagery. Thank you. Create an outline, understanding the audience. Thank you so much. I thank you so much. Your presentation has to flow. That's a wonderful one. Has to have flow, lesser text. You're using high quality images without watermarks. Thank you so much, Mercy, for that. Know the audience you're presenting to. Awesome, awesome. That's awesome. So one of the things I'm going to do now is we're going to go into a bit of a practical session. I don't know if I should take it. So no, I don't want to risk it, but I could try, because I don't want us to have any problem with connection. But then what I'm going to do is, instead of designing in front of you, I'm just going to take one of the presentations I've made and break it down. Or should I try designing? What do you guys think? Let me get your responses. Should I try designing? I'm a bit concerned that if I should try designing, I may not be able to see it till the end. That's one of the concerns I have right now. All right, that's one of the concerns I have right now. But let's see. Let's see. Let's just proceed to the next slide, then I will know what to do. So, like I said, first off is the person, then the tools. All right, we've done a bit to focus on the person. That's all we've gone through. You know, understand the audience, create an outline, tell a story, focus on the emotions of people as well. Add meat to your presentation, which is add useful data. Um, what else did we say? Um, yeah, add meat. Then visuals are key. Use the right image. Learn design. You need to learn design. You can't do without it. Actually, you need to learn design as much as you need. You don't need too much. All right, and then tools. Now, some of the more common tools I'm aware of that we use in creating presentations are, a lot of us know about PowerPoint, right? Although I hardly use PowerPoint anymore because it feels a bit limiting for me. It may not be for some of us, but it feels a bit limiting for me. I I tend to use Adobe Illustrator more. because I use it for work. So generally, I just use it whenever I'm making presentation. Some other persons may be more used to using Google Slides. All of these things are, I dare say that they are intuitive enough. All right. Okay, I'm just going to try and open PowerPoint on my system and show it to you guys. Um, I just fear that there might be an overload, but I'm just going to try. All right. Are we good with that? Hello? Are we together? Let me know. Awesome, 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 awesome. All right, awesome. So, whew, I'm very concerned. I've been enjoying this call all this while. I don't want anything that will come and create a break. So what I would do is, let's try to open PowerPoint. Let's try to open PowerPoint. Let's try. If it suddenly causes problem for me, I will jump off the call and probably rejoin. All right. So let's do this. Okay. And I need to make a very I'm hearing somebody. I don't know who it is. Someone is saying something. All right. So I'll continue since I'm not sure if someone is saying something or not. Okay. So this is a blank. This is a blank. I'm going to give you a tip that is going to help you a lot when it comes to making presentations because I've used it before and it worked a whole lot for me. Pardon, they are telling me to get genuine Office. It's because I hardly use Office. When I'm making documents, I use Google Docs, and stuff like that. I hardly use any Microsoft stuff. I do sometimes, but not very often. All right. So this is PowerPoint. What I've done is that I have created a blank document. So that means that I have decided that I'm going to do everything by myself. All right. Sometimes this is good. If you have mastered the principles of design, this works very well for you. You can easily just open a blank document and start. That's how I do my Adobe Illustrator. All right. But one of the things that can help you is that you can, instead of designing the way you want, one of the things you can do is that you get a template. In the past, it's what I used to do. What I would do is, if I had a presentation, I would not use the templates that PowerPoint presents to me. For example, you have other ones. There are actually very interesting ones here that you could use. Urban monochrome. Let's just open that and see if they would allow me. Okay, this is premium. All right, awesome. So you only have two slides, right? You have this and you have this, and they look very interesting, right? So, but one of the things I would advise you to do is that you go online and look for free PowerPoint presentation templates, right? So what that does is it gives you something to work with if you don't know the principles of design, right? As long as you can tell that this one looks good, this one not just looks good, it works, because it's not just the fact that it looks good. The fact it works is easy to read, it's easy to go through, and at the end of the day, you're going to achieve whatever you want to achieve. It's one of the things I used to do. So you go online, you search for, if it will help you, you can just add 2023 to your search so that you can get something more recent, right? Rather than something that would have been used in 2010, because these things get better. So yeah. So, but since we're here today, I think we're just going to jump into PowerPoint. Does anybody have a suggestion of what we should, what we should design? All right, what we should create a presentation on. I want us to try and create a presentation. This is fresh. All right, I have not created anything before now, so I'm just going to do this. Um, so what's the title of this group? Leverage. Somebody give me a topic. Are we together or are we bored? Let me know. Give me a response, please. Awesome. So, can someone give me a topic to work with? Awesome, awesome. Thank you, Esther. Thank you, Muiz. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Toluwani. Leveraging opportunities for, just give me a title, something we can work with. But yeah, I'm just waiting for something we can work with. While I'm doing that, I'm just going to open a document for us to see. Um, no, not a star, not a star. Yeah, I can do a star. Tiny pitch deck. So pitch deck. If you're looking at my laptop, it's very interesting. You can see tiny pitch deck for corporate organization, general, influencer, media. They are all just solving different problems. So this is one I created for a brand. I can walk you through the creative process for it. Um, um, Let me look for another one. I think this should do. I can just present this to you. I have another one I would have shown you, but I don't have the release to actually share it with you. All right. So now I can tell you a bit about. Okay, I think I will show you that to just show you the difference between both of them. Now I'm going to be presenting Tani to you guys, leveraging global opportunities. Thank you, Molly. I'm going to take note of that. And see how we can create something with that. All right. So here is a pitch deck I made for a brand that I worked with at a point, and I'm still somehow working with. So the way this is designed, oh no, my battery is a bit low. I need to step back inside. All right. So you have Tani is the name of the brand. Tani is like Tani in Yoruba. What is or who is? Yeah, sorry, who is it or who is there or who is? It's supposed to be a question. That's the name of the brand. It's a brand that takes care of that writes. They publish books on Nigerian history and things like that. So you'll find that some of their books are things like I'm a Nigerian in music, I'm a Nigerian in STEM, I'm a Nigerian in what else? In literary arts and things like that. So yes, the cover usually begin with a cover image. Here's a cover image telling you about the brand. Tani, inspiring, confident, and creative children. Corporate partnership pitch. And then I brought in some brand elements. I need to step back in because my battery is low. So just follow me as I do that. I brought in some brand elements to support the whole pitch deck thing. So at the end of the day, your brand determines many things. It determines so your brand determines many things. It determines the colors you use, it determines the type you use, and things like that. All right. Sorry, give me a second to connect my laptop back. All right. So I'm back. So sometimes your brand gives you have the visual assets that you use in doing what you're doing, So the next page, a document was created. So I basically just created this from a document. But then I kept infusing brand elements into it. You have the fonts, you have the visuals, why Tiny series, and on like that. The purpose of your pitch deck determines many things. So when you go through this, you're not seeing charts, you're not seeing all such information because that's not the point in this pitch deck. The pitch deck also has its request about the author, has its request, join us in inspiring Nigerians, has the CTA, and beyond that, they also have their offerings. This is what you gain by working with us. So you can see that these things are clearly stated in the deck for whosoever is to read it. Now, such a deck as this is not meant for direct presentation. You just send it to whoever you send it to, and they can go through it on their laptop. So the readability is not affected. The readability is not affected. But when you have to make a deck, I'm trying to, okay, I'm just going to leave that aside. I'm just going to leave. There's a deck I'm trying to present, but for some reason I don't feel like I have the liberty to do so. So I'm just going to leave it alone. All right. So what I'm going to do next, like I said, is that we're going to try out working in Adobe, I mean in Photoshop. All right. So say for instance, we're here leveraging, I was looking for a title to work in. So I'm just going to work with, so I'm just going to work with whatever was shared, leveraging global opportunities. All right. Opportunities for something. All right. So you create a certain tagline. I'll just type in the same thing. All right. So we have this currently. Um, but then this is me just beginning to lay out things. All right. I can create a new slide depending on the purpose of your slide. Um, how many of us use PowerPoint well, or you even have PowerPoint on you have a laptop and you have PowerPoint on your laptop? Can I just know briefly while I go through this? If you're here and you have you have, okay, one person, who else is there? I want to be sure that I'm carrying as much people as I can along. There's another person, Molly. Who else? You have PowerPoint and you do, okay, that's three, okay, so many people. All right, so if you're here and you have Adobe Illustrator, can you just signify, oh, I have Adobe Illustrator, I have Adobe, oh, I have AI, I have AI on my laptop? Anyone, just let me know. I'm just making a quick sample. I have PowerPoint, but I don't know how to use it. Okay, I'm about to show you how to. I have Adobe Illustrator. I do. Okay, cool. Who uses Canva? I have here. I don't know how to use it. Oh wow. Okay. Who uses Canva? Um, okay. You use Canva. 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 Okay. Um, should we try? Okay. It looks like there are a lot of people that use Canva. I'm wondering if we should try Canva instead. I don't use Canva a lot. I use Canva, but because I have Illustrator, I don't use Canva a lot. But we could explore, because one of the things I'm trying to pass across to you is not just how to use Canva. Since you all know how to use Canva, the key thing for me is how do you bring in the knowledge you've gained into Canva, right? So maybe what I'll do is, do I stick with PowerPoint, but then just walk with me, see how I'm going through this, since some of you already have a certain proficiency in Canva. Yes, let's do PowerPoint then. That's cool. So since you all have, okay, we could explore AI. Please stick with PowerPoint. Okay, I'm going to stick with PowerPoint. If we have a few more minutes, I would open AI. Then we can do AI. All right. So for those of you that know how to use Canva, it's not by force that you have to learn AI or PowerPoint. The only thing is, see how we're doing what we're doing. All right. And then as you see that, you can then know how to replicate it when you're using Canva. Does that make sense? Right. So so just see how we're proceeding. So you then know how to use it wherever you want to use it. That's the key thing, to be very honest. That's the key thing. Just see, okay, this is how you place an image, this is how you do this is how you do that, then you take it over from there. So what I'm going to do is, you know what, I'm going to try and replicate um which of my slides now. I'm just going to try and do what I have here. If I find out that it's actually difficult to do, if there's anything that is giving us any problem, I will just suspend it and move on. I just want us to try and be done in time. So I'm just going to try and replicate this slide. On a normal day, I would have probably added a few more visual assets, but this is clear enough for me. You have the key points. Let's move on. All right. So I'm going to replicate my slides in PowerPoint. I did this in AI. I'm going to do it in PowerPoint now. All right. So first things first, I hope I can figure out PowerPoint very easily. I've not used this in a very long time, but let's try. So what do I have on my first slide? On my first slide, creating killer winning pitch decks. All right, so we're going to have that here, creating killer winning pitch decks. All right, so that's one. Then two, you have Michael Light Tommy. All right, so please just keep watching whatever it is I'm doing. I'm going to come here because I want to reduce the size of this text box. It's a lot. All right, so all I do is I will look for this anchor point. Just keep following me, it's not so difficult. I will look for this anchor point, one of some of these circles around, and click and drag. All right, but I want it to be somewhat in the center. So click and drag, you're here, click and drag, and then it was too big for my liking, so I wanted to take care of that. Then I want to move it down because when you look at this, you can see the layout. You have this is left aligned, you have this is right aligned. This is big because this is what I want you to see first. This is the most important detail on this slide. It's not even my name. The most important thing is creating a winning pitch deck or creating winning pitch decks. That's the most important thing on this page. So that's what determines your hierarchy. What is the first thing you want people to see? You design accordingly. Maybe you make it bigger, maybe you make it bolder, maybe you put it up top, however you want to do it, but be able to determine what you want people to see first, what you want people to see next. That's how it is. So creating winning pitch decks, I'm just going to recreate what I have. Michael Light, Tommy, I will move it down here. This one here, it is left aligned, so I'm going to make it big enough. So what I'll do is I'll select all. I also want to change the font. What font am I using here, please? I'm using Epilogue. I believe I'm using a font called Epilogue. That's what I'm using. All right. I downloaded that for myself because I like to use it. But let's use a different font. Space Grotex. All right. I want to make it bold. I want to make it bold. So I'm going to make it bold. This is PowerPoint. Like I said, I'm going to move it left. If at any point I'll be checking your messages. So if you miss anything I did, let me know. All right. So what I did was simple. I came in here, I selected everything. I came in here, I changed the fonts. I have many fonts on my system that I downloaded because of work. So let me change it to what I just used, Aileron Heavy. So I'm going to change this one as well, Aileron Heavy. All right, so what I do next is just like I did with the other guy. I felt like the text box was too okay. I still want to increase the size of this guy. So I'm going to increase the size before I decide to reduce the text box. All right, so size has been increased, so I can do this. So if I want to move it up or down, now there's a difference. When you come to this anchor point, you can see that there are two types of arrows that show. There is the arrow that is four corner, left, right, top, bottom, right? When you use that, what it means is that you'll be able to move whatever it is you want to click and drag. But when you see an arrow that is just two arrows, when you see a shape or an icon that has just two arrows up and down, it means that you can drag. Sorry, let me do that again. It means that you can drag, you can create more room. So if I want to type more things on the left and right, it's just increasing the size of the text box. Now I want to move. You can, once this, you move around until you can see these four anchor points, then you can move, all right, to wherever you want. Four anchor points, you move to wherever you want, all right? So you can find it anywhere, to be very honest. I'm left aligned, so I'm not bothered about being center aligned. So I created margins, right, for this. So you have, this is a start. Now I want to draw lines. All right, because let me check if anybody has any questions so far. Okay, none so far. If you have any comment or question or anything, let me know. So I'm just going to draw lines because that's where I currently am. I need lines now. I've created the text. I'm going to draw the lines. So I would do this, draw from end to end. When you're drawing, you can hold down your shift key. What happens is that shift key makes it a straight line. So this is the line I want. It's black in color. I'm trying to see how I can create dashes. Is intuitive. Just look for whatever you're looking for. Shape outline. Okay, shape outline. Let's see what's the weight. Let me increase the weight from half to 3. The weight of the one in my design is actually 4, but I'm just going to increase it to 3. Shape outline, I'm going to change to dashes. So it becomes a dash. I'm going to try and duplicate this. How do I duplicate? Can I copy and paste? I can copy and I can paste. Yes, so I've pasted. So all I have to do now is move it down based on my design. And I while this guy has a background color of white. I always sort that out later, but because I like just what they call it. Okay, format background. Let me just do it now, but it would affect so many other things. So format background. I want the background to have a solid feel. What's the color of the feel? I'll change it to black. But before I go there, let me just do something here. I want this to be white. The font color to be white. Can I do that? Font color white, font color white. Hey, sorry, not just you. Font color white. Stroke or the line I just created. How do I format you? Show up, show up, show up, show. Line. Yes. So like it's literally just going to be in front of you. You're the one who will find what you're looking for. For instance, I clicked on this line, shape format. I can come here. You just look at the top. It's like using MS Word. Home, insert, draw, design. So if you want to insert an image, you go to insert. If you want to draw something, you go here. If you want to design, you can choose. There are templates. It's just that because of my knowledge of design, I don't like using templates, especially when I don't trust them. I like to design from scratch. But if you know that you don't have that knowledge yet, you can pick templates like this one. All right, you can pick a template and then build, but I'm not interested in picking a template. Transitions, this is if you want to animate what you're working with, or transitions, right, from slide to slide. How do your slides transit? So you have animations, different things, really different things. These are settings for your slide show, set of your slide, how long do they last? So you just have to explore. You can create a mock design or a mock presentation and just see how things work. But I'm more interested in changing this to white. So shape outline, is that outline? Okay, it's white now. So shape outline is white. So what I do now is format background, solid fill. I'll change it to black. And tada, this is where we are. So what's left is for me to draw a line over killer. I'm drawing a line over killer now. The line should be white. The weight should be about 6. 6 should do. I could actually make it more. Um, I can actually make it more. I'm thinking of seeing if I can make it more. So I'm making it 10. All right, so it's 10. So you can see the similarity between this and this already. You know what? It's just that I'm using a very different font. So you can see that the fonts are slightly different. But at the end of the day, let me just see if I can present this so that you can see it the way it should normally appear. How do I do this? I think I've forgotten a bit how I think view should be here or inside slideshow. So you start from current slide if you want to view the slideshow of it. So this is my result so far. And if I exit and you compare it with what we have here, they are almost the same, right? One of them I did in Adobe Illustrator, the other one I'm doing in PowerPoint. So we can go to the second slide. What's the second slide? So we have text. So this text, how do we replicate it? We need to copy the text. A pitch deck. This is PDF. I'm just going to copy and paste in my notepad for now. A pitch deck is also this, and that. So this is what I usually do first. Sometimes I copy things and paste them in my notepad to remove whatever formatting was in the former one, but it may not be so important. All right, so I can copy this now. Go to my PowerPoint. Okay, but first off, I think I desire to reuse this somewhere else. New slide. So this is a new blank slide. I don't really need this guy so much. I think I can make do with this. So what I'm going to do is paste whatever I've done, drag it down. All right, so I'm already creating something similar to this. So all I need to do is change the font first. I think I can make the font, okay, it's not getting bigger. This works. So I'm just going to change the font first. So I've selected all of this. I need to, oh no, my phone is vibrating. I don't know who may be calling me. Okay, let me just leave this and focus on the call. So I've selected the font. Now I want to change the font type. So I'm going home, I'm changing it to, what was that font we used again? Aileron Black, or was it heavy? I can't remember which one it was. All right, so we have this. I think it was heavy we used. Yes, it was heavy we used. So we're back here. So we have this. It's all black. What do I want to achieve? Put in this square or rectangle, black rectangles, and change the font to white. All right. So what do I do? 10 to 20. I'm just going to, is it draw now or insert shape? Let me see. Let me try and figure that out. Like I said, I don't insert shape. All right. So this is the shape I'm inserting. I'm going to draw this. The color is blue, but I want the color to be black. The color is already set as black. What do I do next? I want it to be here, 1020. 1020. 1020. But then it's in front of my text because I had already created the text or written out the text before drawing out the shape. I believe that we can remember that. All right. So, but it's in front of my text. So what I want to do now is move it behind the text. So what I do is I believe right clicking should be able to take care of that. When you right click the shape, you can see bring to front, send to back. You see these options. You can decide to, those of us that use AI, it's really a different way of doing it, but you can literally achieve the same thing. So what I want to do is I'll right click this and send. You can send back, send to back, or send backward. Send backward sends it back in steps. Send once, then you click send backward again, it pushes it behind again and again. But when you send to back, it takes it to the far back. So I've sent it to the back. What's left for me now is changing this, the text that is currently there to white. So that's what I'm about to do now. The font, I've changed it to white. So you can see that I've achieved that already. You can do the same thing, draw another shape. How do you draw a shape? You can literally do it from here. Just pick your shape, your rectangle here, or you insert shapes. You pick. All you have to do is look around. You draw the shape. You have your, okay, so let me draw the shape again. You draw the shape. You have the color. You come here. Do you want it to be black? Do you want it to be white with stroke? You can just literally select as much as you want down here. It's your choice to make. You can determine the color from here, change the color to whatever color you want. It's really your choice to make. um so you drag it wherever you want it to be, send it back. After you send it back, change the text color, and you're done. But I'm not going to do that for us because of time. I think some of us have gotten that right. Are we following? Have you gotten that much yet? Especially for those who were asking for for PowerPoint. Is it making sense to you? I'm going to try and jump into creation of, and things like that, because I don't want us to dwell on text so much. I didn't create charts in my own what they call it presentation so much, so I need to create something with charts. You can easily do this by typing text here, text here, text here, and drawing straight lines. It's basically like maths, addition and subtraction. So you draw a straight line from here, you draw a straight line from here, draw a straight line, draw a straight line, draw a straight line. If you want to replicate my design, all right, this is also very simple. We've done something like this. This is also very simple. I can explain how this is done. Set the background color of the slide to be black. Shift. Okay, let me just do this so that it's easier for everybody to get. Let's not let me not just talk. So next thing is I create. If you have a slide that you've created and you like the layout of the slide, instead of creating a new slide, one of the things that you can do is you duplicate the slide. Okay, duplicate the slide and use it by right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate. There's a way I'm moving around my slides. I'm either pressing left or right. That's one of the things I'm doing. I'm on slide 1. If I press right, I go to slide 2. If I press left, I go back to slide 1. Or I can look at my sidebar here and click whatever side I want. All right. If I want to close this, if it's disturbing me, I can close it, but I like it there. If I want to view my slide in a bigger way, I can just close it so that my slide can expand and I will enjoy the scene. All right. So let me make that brief. So everything has expanded. Click here, you can view everything. So I like this slide. I'm going to duplicate it. So right click and duplicate slide. Duplicate slide. I want it to be my slide 3. So it's currently my slide 3, slide 1, slide 2, slide 3. What do I want to do on slide 3? I want to do this. Define your audience. If I have time, I'll add all of these things, but just want to move as fast as possible. So I'll use this to define your audience. Right? This. So this is how I want it to work. Define your audience. So I'm going to reduce font size for convenience. So all right. Okay. So after
Hello, sir. We cannot hear you clearly, sir. Hello, sir.
Hello, sir. Your network is poor, sir.
Hello, sir. We can no longer hear you. We don't know if it's okay for you to rejoin. If you can hear us, please, can you rejoin, sir? Hello, everyone. Please let's be patient. Suppose there are some network glitches on his end, but we're on it and we believe that we'll be back on the class very soon. Thank you. All right, so while we wait for Mr. Tommy to be back, can we just share how the session has been for you? Can you share how the session has been for you? The things that have stood out in this session for you as regards creating a pitch deck or even the principles of design generally. So can you share in the chat box the things that have really, really resonated with you or new things that you've gotten to learn? For instance, if you were not familiar with PowerPoint before, but now you can see that it's quite easy to use or navigate your way, right? Just share with us how the session has been for you. Please, I'll be expecting our responses in the chat box. I believe that people are here and I'll be expecting our responses in the chat box.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Oh, thank God. Welcome, sir.
I can hear you now, so I believe many persons can.
I have disconnected and reconnected. Just pardon me, my PC is hot. It's acting up, but I'm back and I want to just see how I can jump into chats. So can you hear me? Just type yes, I can hear you. If one person can hear me, I want to be sure that you guys can hear me or that I'm muted. Let me know, please. Okay, you can hear me. So I'm going to attempt to present once again, and I hope that this goes smoothly. All right, I'm going to attempt to present once again. I hope this goes smoothly. Awesome. So now I'm presenting. So if you can see my screen, just say yes, I can see your screen. It's working, I guess. Here we go. So I can see your screen. So if you can see my screen, yes, it's okay. I'm also having a conversation with my babies, guys. Will enjoy us together. Right? Anyone, can you see my screen? Okay, awesome. You guys can see my screen. So I'm just going to present and then round up so that if all right, I should use remote. Don't worry, I will operate it for you very soon. Give me some minutes. All right. So you guys, I'm just going to present. I'm just going to do this. Then I'll jump into chats because I think chats are very important. Then yeah, you can see how I did this. I adjusted this text, adjusted this, I duplicated the first slide, formatted the text, then I inserted this image by going to insert pictures from device, not online, from device. And after choosing from device, I went to my desired folder, I selected the image, I came here and I cropped the image. Let me crop it again so that it looks close to what we had. So I want to pull this out because we only had two people in view. Then the next thing I'll do is I will crop. So picture format. Hello there. Go and put it back. Go and put it back. Oh yeah, return it. Return it. Return it now. Return it. So I'm trying to format the picture. So what I do next is I'm going to crop. All right, crop is right here, top right. That's where I found crop under picture format. All right. So what I'm going to do now is click on crop. Click on crop. Yes, dear. Put it in the kitchen. Thank you. So click on crop. Rejoice, I can hear you. Yes, you are. Thank you so much. Now take the spoon to the kitchen. Thank you. Yes. So now I'm just trying to crop according to my desired size. And voila, we're done. So we have something very similar to what we had earlier. I don't want to go back to open what we had so that it doesn't disturb what we're doing. All right. So the final part of this for me is that I'm going to create a chart. I've shown you how to use. I've shown you how to use images. Go and call mommy for me. You're going to look for mommy. Go and call mommy for me. Thank you. So I've shown you how to use images, format text, bring in lines and icons, change background color, just format according to how you desire. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to create charts. Let's insert charts. I believe that we should be able to do that here simply. So we'll just try. What do I do next? Let me create a new slide instead of duplicating a slide. So to create a new slide, they are giving you options. Do you want this style? Do you want this style? Do you want this style? Choose the style you want. Do you want blank? So I'm going to choose something like this. All right. So you can add a table, you can add a chart, you can add a flow chart, something from the internet, pictures, videos, an icon. So I'm just going to insert a chart. I'm not sure what our chart is about. You can pick any chart of your liking: line chart, pie chart, bar chart, area chart, XY scatter, map, stock, surface, radar.
Hello, sir. Please, are you still there? We can no longer hear you. We hope you can hear us. We can no longer hear you, sir.
I trust that after conversations with I trust that after conversations with Praise, we'll know what next to do. But for tonight, I think I will just pause, right? Because it's almost 7:30. But I'll chat with Praise and we'll see how to proceed. So you guys can go ahead. I just wanted to come in and say that before disappearing again. Okay. But thank you for having me. If I have more to say, I will share with Praise, and I hope that is going to deliver my message to you. All right. So thank you
Yes,
guys
sir.
so much. Thank you. So I'll leave for now, but I'll drop messages with Praise. Then it would let you guys know my thoughts. All right. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for your time. We really appreciate.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, so hi everyone. Yeah, thank you very much for staying up to this point. I know that we had issues here and there. I mean, but it is well. Yeah, thank you very much for joining. Thank you for your patience, your understanding. I'm not really sure if we're going to have a session again. I'm not really sure. I mean, it depends on him, right? But really, like, I'm not sure, but let's see what happens. I believe that we've been able to learn a couple of things, right? Because this class is like very premium. However, I was not really impressed by the turnout, but I guess people were mixed up in some other things, so it's very fine. So I believe that I've been able to learn, and I hope that to be able to put all of these things into practice. So guys, it's been 4 days with you all. I mean, learning, relearning, unlearning, and I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you once again to the designer, Oluwashimi Owolabi, very awesome brother and friend. I mean, to check him out on Instagram, O2 Concept, doing amazingly well. So if you need, graphic design and all that, you could reach out to me. Then I want to say thank you to Daniel, Claire. I mean, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you, Esther. Thank you, Silokwe. Thank you, Adekunle. I really very consistent, most consistent, best participant. So Adekunle, thank you. Fumi, thank you. Mufokwe, thank you very much. I mean, I was surprised to still see Victor, thank you so much. Olali Praise, thank you very much. Esther, thank you very much. Okay, I think I mentioned everybody. So Femi Amusa, thank you very much. Peter Abigmide, thank you very much. Olamide Adi, thank you very much. Everybody, thank you so much. I'm so grateful. I mean, I just really hope that I'll put all of these things into practice, and I'm sure that will create, or let me say, reinvent the future. So the future is not far-fetched. The future is within our grasp. So until I come again some other time, until we meet again some other time, please stay productive, keep changing your world. Thank you very much, guys. Stay useful.
Thank you very much, sir. We really appreciate everything.
Very much.
Thank you, sir.